platforms. We have a lot of now platforms lined up like HTD40, LUH, etc. And for that, we definitely require a lot of advanced technologies. And so are the other DPSUs, government agencies. Private sector should look into tapping this huge potential through forging partnership with the DPSUs. A stronger public-private partnership is required to meet the future security challenges. HAL and the other DPSUs would only be too happy in assisting this setup. Further, this will help in providing opportunities to the IT and electronic industries and help India meet global expectations. One more thing I would like to say, I'm sure you must have heard that HAL has been now, in fact, what I see as a part of the board, last almost seven years and all, that earlier we were almost dependent upon government based on almost on the monopoly basis. And it was being debated quite animatedly in the board that should we continue like this? There's a huge change now. We have, like for development of our engines, HTSC and HTFE, you must have heard, HTFE is basically a 25 kilonewton engine. 2 to 25 kilonewton engines can power a normal jet or IJT. Similarly, on the rotary side, we are developing what you call HTSC, which can again take up a small size helicopter. So and again on the one joint venture we have already entered with Russia for developing Kamov, which basically works on the counter technology for basically rotor transmission system. So there are huge opportunities insofar as defense is concerned. Now that IT has getting almost stagnated, and the challenges which organizations like places like Coimbatore, which have been basically the pioneer of industrial activity. I'm sure you people who have been associated with giving proper impetus to industrialization of this area will tap into this emerging requirement of the country. Insofar as what I know about, in fact, morning I had a discussion with one of your colleagues asking me as to what association I have with Coimbatore. If you ask me, I had nothing except for being a part of HAL and continuously hearing that a lot of things are being done from Coimbatore. A lot of supply chain is being done from here. It was considered to be almost some sort of a, like we call it, pump city of the country, what I heard. And Mr. Sundaram was telling, other people also were telling that it has been the backbone of particularly the automobile sector. The automobile sector now slightly going to the different side, that electrical, your diesel or fuel and all is going way to electrical. This is the right time, then we should make the change. And I'm sure all of you have got that capability. And as you said, small is big, joining together, you can definitely create that type of environment, that type of dynamics, wherein what the government is contemplating, that India should become, instead of being a biggest importer of defense equipment, become the exporter. So that initiative you need to tap in. And so we are concerned, I have always believed very strongly that we should not think of competition. I always voiced this thing in the board or wherever I have represented, that it is only PSUs and private partners coming together as collaborators that this country can become self-reliant. I have no doubt in saying that this collaboration will give the much needed impetus to this country so that it can become an exporter, or it can become self-reliant. I will not even say exporter, become self-reliant in defense, and it will give much needed, what you call, impetus to employment generation which the country requires. I have no doubt in saying that Odisha has taken, with the help of all the sister organizations, a big leap in tapping into this particular emerging requirement of the country, and I was told that in fact the government team is coming on 4th of June. I was, latest when I came here yesterday, a paper came to me as officiating chairman. I saw that the type of relations which you have developed with the government, I don't think any other organization has taken this lead. I wish you all the best, and I'm sure Odisha and the Coimbatore setup will show the beacon light to the entire country. Thank you.
marvelous week. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause. It's more than a pleasure to have our chief guest come between us and share his insightful journeys today. Once again, Mr. V.M. Chennaul to your business. Give them a big round of applause.
Everybody is talking about the huge opportunities defense is creating in the Indian context for Indian industry. So me having been called here to talk about the opportunity, I think everybody knows the opportunity exists. So it's going to be very general what is it we can talk about here. But more importantly, I think I've been called to the city of Coimbatore with CODICIA. Thank you. The most happening place in India today in the defense sector. Wherever we talk about it, newspaper talks about CODICIA, talks about Coimbatore. Defense Minister was telling us after DefExpo, when we were talking, she says, came to Hall 6, talked to all of us, and then said, why there is no industry from Chennai? Only Coimbatore industries are there. Nothing happens in Chennai, is it? So this was the comment, and I thank CODICIA for inviting me to the defense hub in India and involving, accepting as part of your hub here. Thank you very much for this. Now, to talk about challenges and opportunities. Over the last so many years, we've seen a lot of challenges. People who have been in defense for 20 years or 10 years will talk about challenges more than opportunities. But today, the scene is a bit different. We're talking about a lot more opportunities which is made available. I have a few slides which talk about very general. See, this is a very complex sector involving multiple technologies and domains. Every one of us specializes in one area of that domain. So to give more perspective to what I can talk, it is actually, or to even share our experiences in this sector and look at the opportunities and the challenges, it needs to be a bit more interactive, and we don't have much of time here. We have 20 minutes to do this lecture or a talk, small talk. And also, I'm not aware of the audience who are here and this particular perspective of how you're coming up, whether you're looking at startup industry, you're already doing business here. So to address a complex kind of an audience like this, it's best that, keep it simple and let ask questions where we can share our experiences. And hopefully, we can do this even after this talk is over. But to give perspectives, I thought we will add a few slides very briefly, because there are too many slides of that. I just run through slides in 1 or 2 minutes, 3 minutes, to give you perspective what Data Patterns does. So your questions can then be directed towards areas where we specialize, and we would be able to actually address those kind of areas of questions here. You need to. How do you? Okay. Oh, it's okay. Right. This company started with building test systems. We built the largest test systems in India. Way back, this is in 1990, we started this. And we built the launch countdown system to ISRO, along with the test. That is how we started this company. And from there on, we have built up a complete competency. Okay. Today, we specialize in radars, electronic warfare, avionics, a whole range of electronic subsystems across land, sea, air, underwater, all of them. And this is done in this facility which we created in Chennai, where a defense and aerospace systems facility design and production facility is there. We have a fairly world-class infrastructure created for defense manufacturing, with all the test equipment to see that we can qualify the systems and produce it to international standards. The most important thing I think we have achieved other than this is the quality management system. This is fundamental to being in defense industry. All of you are working in a whole lot of an automotive here, and you understand quality and process. But this is very unique to defense in that our QMS and the QAPs which you have is there. And what we did is, in an environment where people come and people go, you need to have documentation and process, ingrained process. So we've written documented checklists and guidelines for almost every activity. I think that is one of the strongest points which we built up over the period of years. Some of the products we've done, and very briefly because of lack of time, we build radars. Now HAL director said AESA radar, this is called electronic beam steering. This is a radar done for aircraft landing. We should get the contract in another 2-3 months. It's about 300 crores. This is to give the radar land the aircrafts in any weather. This is for military aircraft. We call it a precision approach radar. We do part of the electronic beam steering radar for LRDE. We do a very large wind profile radar which can go into space of 1,000 kilometers. It's again a beam steering, electronic beam steering radar. It's completely designed in-house. Coastal surveillance radar. Parts of electronic warfare, almost all the receivers, including frequency hop sequences, locating the hop, direction of the hop, jamming the hop sequence of radios. So we do all of them. Today we're doing a flight testing of aircraft, electronic intelligence and radar warning receiver. This is going to fly in the next 1 or 2 months' time. Avionics, a whole range of avionics for all platforms, from missiles to low trimming, etc. We also do the glass cockpit portion for HAL. This is for the LUH and a lot of other aircrafts of this. Our startup in this area came from launchers for BrahMos. We do the land version launcher for BrahMos and the air version which goes into the Sukhoi 30 launcher for the BrahMos missile. We do the Seeker for BrahMos. This is under flight trials now. And a host of other platforms. We don't get underwater, etc., and all the test systems, and also a small satellite. But anyway, this is to give you a perspective of what we do. As regarding opportunities, we started differently because it started 20 years back. We are not starting now. So the opportunities here are very, very different from what it was when we started. Our opportunity started with DRDO. That is the only opportunity we have. And like Chairman or Director HAL was saying, most of the PSUs were working on a TOT kind of infrastructure. So there was no real opportunity for us to really design. When you want to design product, if you're doing production, build to print, it is possible to do outsource production, and you can do this in SME sector. But we had a design company. We started with developing a product. So we had to start with the DRDO, building subsystems and modules which they were importing, try to make the import replacement for those modules, and build this. This is how we started. Further, once this is qualified, organizations like HAL, BEL give us the production order. As and when they get an order, back to back we get it. This is the business model which we had started. Only thing when we started, we thought the moment we qualify and give the system, immediately the contracts will start happening. And that we learned that doesn't happen so easily. It takes 5 years, 7 years, sometimes 10 years for the production order to happen. So those are the challenges in this industry. But that, I think, the gap is narrowing now with what is happening in India. Today, of course, we have large corporates coming into defense. So that becomes a market again for the SMEs, which was not available those days because all of us were actually going for the same pie, which is a very small portion of Indian business. The tier 1 companies in India, who are going to grow up in the next 5 to 7 years, they will become a business model or access to business here. And the international OEMs. There is a push to make in India, and then so the international OEMs are looking at India as a space. More than that, there are also, commercial aircraft manufacturers and all that. I have a requirement to say that sourcing in India is what they call as low-cost country. So LCC, so they have a requirement to bring in, competency here and build. There is a huge capability building and search mechanisms on by all the large corporates. So they are looking, other than defense, aerospace, there is a huge market which is happening. And also now, with the subsystem vendors, which are not accessible to us, they were all doing, designed in my country and did in my country. This concept is still there, but there is a requirement and a push to come to India and look at it. So the market is, multinational. We start with India. Of course, few countries, companies like Dynamatic and all that have already started doing a lot more outside India than in India. There is Mac Industries. They do a whole lot of stuff. But a lot of companies are actually looking at the Indian model to build the base and then start the opportunities outside India. The one push which has happened, which is going to make this market a huge opportunity, is this Make in India. This is a true requirement. The government has put it. It is no longer, it's just not the words. We are really serious about it because the process also has followed. A lot more is to be following because we made a great start. We made a great start in Make in India initiatives. And today we have, new processes like the procurement process aligned to IDDM, buy and make, and then make one and make two categories, where he's talking about make one specifically for SMEs to come and make it. Of course, these are all nice to hear. There are also complications, alongside these kind of processes, which if anybody wants to know, I can explain more to it. But giving you an overview, these are opportunities now. Where the opportunity is getting done is that, first, Indian industry can quote in defense MOD requirements. We were not allowed to quote till 2013. Only, they were importing it, and TOT was happening to defense PSUs. But Indian industry was not allowed to quote. That is a major change. And DPP 2016 has opened up a whole variety and again said, if Indian industry is doing, they will be given preference. There is a preference model, IDDM, by things like buy and make. And then they have a categorization, say make one, make two. We want to put so many programs in make one, make two. And there's a drive to do this. And there are opportunities that collaborative partnerships happening. So because of the process and procedure, a lot more opportunities are getting opened up. Again, not just because that we can quote in India, but also that they are putting mandatory clauses that 30 to 60% of the overall bid value or the program value or project value has to be done in India. So even though India does not have the wherewithal to put a missile or an aircraft or whatever it is immediately, we are still going for collaborations or partnerships in the MOD tenders. There is a requirement that so many percentage has to be done in India, 50%, 60%. This will drive automatically a market and an opportunity for Indian industry to address that 50, 60% because this is mandatorily required as part of contractual obligation. So you will have a definite business. So they will come looking for you. We can go looking for them.